Right, so it's time for business news, and the government is making some pronouncements on legacy debts, and these debts having to do with the energy sector. We're talking ECG, private sector participation, and then we're coming back to more energy issues. Yes, all right, so it's VRA, Tema Oil Refinery, and the Chamber of Bulk, the Chamber of Bulk oil distributors as well. Yeah. Okay, so essentially, and I'm hearing a certain figure. What we all these people?
Yes, in totality, it's supposed to be within the range of 4.4 billion, and now government has
US dollars.
No, Ghana cedis, 4.4 billion Ghana cedis. And
okay.
Government has now paid the first tranche of 250 million.
Okay. Well, some progress is
some progress. At least they know that the government has started doing something, because they were initially. They were in the dark as to how.
But then again, I heard, I thought I heard earlier that they said these debts were going to be paid off in about 5 years. But today I'm hearing that it could go as far as 10 years.
Well, for the toll debts, government is trying to convert it into bonds, for a 10-year period, to be paid over the 10-year period. But for the other, the other agencies,
it will be paid earlier.
It's to be paid earlier.
Right. Okay, take it away then.
Thank you very much. And thanks for joining me on business. Government has made the first tranche of payment to clear part of the debts owed by VRA to the commercial banks. The Finance Minister Tekpe disclosed this today at a news conference to give an update on the payment of the debts, which is estimated approximately at 4.4 billion Ghana cedis. Judge Rafi attended the press conference and has filed this report.
The 250 million Ghana cedi payment was said to have been paid into a separate account at the Bank of Ghana on Wednesday, August 31st. According to government, the payment is a part of a 4.4 billion Ghana cedi of VRA's debt, which will be paid over a 5-year period. The arrangements with the banks have been done in a way that will also see the interest payment on both cedi and dollar debts reduce marginally. This will allow the 12 banks draw from the account of the Bank of Ghana. For the banks, this arrangement could not have come at a better time. Al-Hassan Andani is the president of the Association of Bankers.
Importantly, confidence. The energy sector and the SOEs absorb a lot of financial, resources. But when you have all these difficulties, the flow of financial resources to them is constrained. So this hopefully will reintroduce some confidence into the, SOEs. VRA, GNPC, Gridco, these are massive companies that absorb not just local financial resources, but international financial resources. This will be a huge vote of confidence that the shareholder, when the crunch comes, will step forward and find a way out.
Chief Executive of the VRA, Kirk Kofi, says the current arrangement would go a long way to improve the financial position.
We've been working together with the ministry and the banks to structure these things, and I can say very confident that this is going to help us. This is going to help us because the moment we clean our books, we are comfortable with the banks, we can then go back and do business with the banks. And as the minister rightly said, some years back, we didn't need any support from anybody to buy our crew, we didn't need any support to do anything. And that's the structure that we are trying to get back.
Chief Executive of Tema Oil Refinery, Kwame Ewu-Adako, also maintained that the 10-year bond that government was working on to issue to clear toll debts could go a long way to improve supply of petroleum products.
This is a first step, and I think the minister alluded to it, to the bond. But the banks and the creditors want to see a proof of concept. And so what we've agreed with our banks in this restructuring is, instead of calling it a bond, it's going to come out as a self-amortizing facility. But it is all, to all intents and purposes, is structured as a bond. So TOR is doing paying the investment amount of 148 million cedis. That means that the ESLA levies that are going to the TOR debt recovery, that are coming out of the TOR debt recovery levy portion, will be used to pay the interest and will lead to a self-amortization of the facility over the next 10 years.
On his part, Chief Executive of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, Senyor Hosi, is confident that the BDC debts will be paid soon. This could go a long way to convince donors and investors about government's commitment to clear all these energy sector debts, a development that could stabilize the economy's financial sector. It could also help convince the IMF that it is committed to stabilizing the economy. which will ensure Ghana pass the test under the third review.
We are all expecting more like a final draft report this week, and that should probably set a tone for the implementation of the repayment structure